Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Wolf with a Pencil, but as you know, you can call me Wolf for short. Today I'm going to be doing tutorials on how to draw lips today. Lips and mouths, however you want to say it. So yeah, let's get right into it. Like before, I'm going to be using my mirror, like in my last video, so I can draw my own lips to get my own structure, which will be good. I've also got my shading pencils with me. This is one of them now, and my rubber here, and my sharpener. Okay, let's get right into it. Okay, so first off, I like to start off with the top part of the lips. So, always start with the dip. Just move this in a bit. So I'm starting with the dip at the moment at the top of the lips. Remember, try not to go too dark with this, as it may, give you trouble with rubbing it out, because it'll give you that little shadow behind once you've rubbed it out. And that won't be good with your work. So just remember to just draw it out lightly before you add any proper detail to it, because that's the mistake I've always been making. I've been doing it in too much, drawing it in too much, and then I'd have to rub it out, but then I'd leave this like shadow behind of where it once was. So just make sure you try not to do that. Whoops. At the moment, I'm just using a, what number is this? It's an F. So this is an F, which is the lightest in the collection of shading pencils. So if you're starting off light, I recommend you use the F pencil for this. Right. Hopefully you can all see that. That's just the top part of the lip so far. I might go down a little bit more here, since my lips aren't that wide. They're not smiling, so. And then I'll rub out the rest of the lines. Here we go. There we go. Right. Now it may seem a little bit uneven, but that's fine, because you're not going to get it perfect every single time. So the more you keep rubbing out, the more mistakes you may make. So it's best to just leave it and maybe come back to it when you've done the rest of the lips, which is what I'm doing now. So now I'm going on to the middle part where the opening of the lips are. And the thing I do is I curve inwards slightly. And then near to the middle, I feel like it has this slight little lump coming out. So I do a slight lump coming out here. And then I do exactly what I've done on this side on the other side. So I go in and then out and curve it. Doesn't have to be perfect, remember. So you can always come back to it later. Because the line in the middle of your mouth isn't completely straight. You've got some curves and some lumps, which is what I've added. So this is what it looks like so far. Hope you can all see. Right, now I'm going to go to the bottom of the lips. Here. I'm trying not to make it too, I'm trying not to make it too big. Need the mirror closer to me so I can see. this is what the outline should look like. Okay, so this is what the outline should look like. I've just altered this a bit because it was too wide here, so I've just rubbed it out a bit and I've pulled it in a little bit. Now, some people don't do as much shading in their lips. It depends on what kind of picture or what kind of style you're going for. But with me, I like to shade in the lips slightly dark. But it's up to you, and it depends on, you know, the person you're drawing, the person who you're drawing is the same thing. And if it's coming from a black and white picture or if it's coming from a coloured picture, it all depends. But find your own style of, you know, shading. And I like to go pretty dark, so I like to add in quite a lot of detail. Some people like to keep it smooth, but I'm quite different, so yeah. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to get in one of my shading pencils, a darker one, and I'll start shading it in. I've also got some of my blending pencils with me as well, as I will be blending. So right now I'm going to be using a 2H, which is slightly darker than an F, but it's not that dark. So I'm just going to go around. So I'm going to start from the corners of the top of the lip here and work my way upwards. As my lips are quite dark round the top of it, my lips are a little bit dark. There's a part of the lip, like you could say like another line, where it's slightly darker and then it fades into light as you go into the middle part of your lips, which is what I'll be doing. But I'm not going to do it too dark, or else if I do that and I want to rub something out, it's not going to come off properly. So that's what I'm doing right now. I may need to go a little bit darker though. Yeah, because this doesn't really seem as dark as I want it to be. So let's see what I have. I may use a 4B. Yeah, use a 4B for this one. I've now got a 4B pencil, as I feel like I need to go a bit darker around here, as it's still got the same sort of shading as the F with the 2H pencil. So now I'm using a 4B, which is slightly darker, as you can see. It adds a little bit more shading to it, which is good, because this is the kind of outcome I want. It all depends on how you shade, and I like to shade quite dark, as I said before. So I'm just going around here. Right. Now I'm just going to make the middle part of the lips slightly more darker, as I'm going to be adding some detail. So right now I'm just outlining with the same 4B, by the way. Right, now I feel like I need to use one of my blending pencils. Let's see what I've got. I think I'm going to use this one here. Right, now I need to go a little bit darker around here, as you can't see much darkness here. Let me get my blending pencil again and just blend this in. This is what it looks like so far. Just going to outline this again. I spend a lot of time with shading on one part, which you don't have to do if you don't need to. So, which is why I keep going over it, because I feel like it's not as dark as I want it to be. Right. Now I'm going to go to the bottom part of the lips and do nearly the exact same thing that I did on the top. And I'll also add a few creases for detail later on after I've got the base of the shading out of the way. I may need to use a darker pencil for the outline. Let me find one. Okay, this is a 6B here. So just using a 6B for outline. Right, now I'm going to go back to the 4B and start shading the corners once again, traveling slowly into the middle from each side, slowly getting lighter as I do that as well. As you can see, I'm starting to slowly get lighter as I come into the middle of the lips. This is the kind of effect I want with the lips. And as I said before, and if I haven't, I'll say again from my last video, that it all depends, the shading all depends on where you want the light to be coming from. If you want it to be coming from a certain angle, or if you just want it to be coming from straight point of view, which is looking straight at you if it was you I was drawing. So right now, I'm not really doing any angle from sunlight to shading or anything like that. I'm just drawing as if there wasn't really any shading or wasn't any light. But say if you wanted to have the shading on this side, but your lips looked quite lighter on this side, you could add as much shading as possible on this side, and then slowly and gradually you start to get lighter as you shade, but still keeping the shape of your lips with the shading. So yeah, and so right now I'm just shading in with my blending pencil from the corners, going dark into light. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, this is what it looks like so far. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit more detail. So I'm going to add a few creases from here, and like one going down here and a few on the sides, as many people do have some sort of crease in their lips. It's not all blemished, and you know, you don't want it to look photoshopped, so you had to at least add a few realistic details in there, especially if it's something that someone has which another person doesn't have. You want to show that with your drawings, as you could be drawing a person and they have something different about them on their feature that you're drawing, so you have to make that possible. So right now I'm just drawing a few creases. I'm going to do one going down here. As I said, you don't have to do it as dark as I am. Maybe next time I won't do shading as dark, depending on where I want the light to be shining. And you don't want to add too much of these creases, or else it starts to give off a cracked effect with the lips, and you don't really want that to happen. As you know, you want your lips to look smooth, or the person's lips you're drawing, you want them to look smooth, whether they're cracked or not. So try not to add too many, or else it starts to give the impression that the lips are cracked. And I've done that plenty of times, and I've always regretted it. So just try not to add it in too much. This is what it should look like. I know my one slightly looks a bit cracked, but you don't have to do as much as I'm doing. Alright, I think the last thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to get my biggest blending pencil here, and I'm going to shade around the lips to give it a base colour, as if you're drawing a full face, you're not just going to have the lips, you know, just bold. They need to slightly fade into the face as well. And if you've already got some lead or some graphite on the blending pencil already, then you can just use that to shade around the lips. So that's what I'll be doing right now. You kind of want to make it slightly dark closer around the lips to give it a bit of 3D-ness. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that with this one, this blending pencil, but I'll maybe add some shading pencil in to make it slightly darker around the rim of the whole of the lips to give it a nice 3D look, making it look more realistic in a sense. Right, and that's the finished look. That's what it should look like near to the end, or something near to that. We all have our own styles at the end of the day, so just keep practicing, and hopefully this video helped you with you know, drawing lips in a realistic form in my style anyways. Thanks for watching, but now I've got to go. Bye!